Yes, and start. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, this bill seeks to provide a special machinery for the removal of grievances of certain categories of employees, particularly in the sectors of state and central government services, local bodies, and the like. This is being done under the powers given, and the Parliament can make such a provision if they consider it necessary. The laudable objective behind this bill is to have expeditious disposal of the day-to-day grievances of the employees, particularly what is called service matters. Service matters is a term which includes a lot of grievances in respect of service conditions, starting from remuneration to promotion, transfer, leave, rules, and things like that. I welcome this aspect that this bill makes provision to include all aspects of service conditions and makes provision for an employee to go to an administrative tribunal for seeking justice. The bill is welcome to the extent that it at least seeks to have an expeditious disposal of the grievances. But at the same time, we have to see how this is sought to be done. I would refer particularly to the composition of the tribunal, to which references have already been made. As has been pointed out by a number of previous speakers, this is a provision whereby not merely a person who is a High Court judge or a Supreme Court judge serving or retired can be made a member, particularly chairman or vice chairman, but a person at the level of a secretary, additional secretary, joint secretary, or even a person holding a post with a scale of pay not less than that drawn by any one of them also could be made a member of this tribunal, and even a vice chairman and a chairman if he satisfies certain conditions. Here is my objection to the appointment of such a person for obvious reason that he is the person who during the course of his service has also take certain action against the employees working under him. Therefore, if I may submit, he has a prejudicial mind already as far as the employees are concerned. We are trying to provide an appeal or justice rendered to a person who is aggrieved, and he must feel that not merely justice is done, but that justice appears to be properly done, and unless that is ensured, it is no use having these provisions. The persons who constitute this tribunal have to be impartial, independent, and judicial. I cannot believe that a person who has served or who has been in service can be a person who can satisfy this qualification. The man has to act not merely fairly and justly, but he should not also act arbitrarily or mechanically without application of mind. This is very necessary if proper justice is to be done. Otherwise, the whole purpose, the laudable objective of this bill gets destroyed, gets nullified. That is why the proposal which has been made for reference of the bill to a select committee needs to be considered with all seriousness, and I hope the Home Minister would agree to that proposal. Regarding applicability of the bill, it was stated by the minister that persons who are governed by the Industrial Disputes Act, particularly in respect of matters which are covered by the Industrial Disputes Act, are not covered by this bill. This, in my opinion, takes away a large chunk of employees, particularly the industrial employees and even the employees of the local authorities who are governed by this act. There is not a single matter which cannot become an industrial dispute under the Industrial Disputes Act. Therefore, the coverage of this bill become less, and it does not cover as many persons as is envisaged or as is sought to be made out by the minister. Then, as compared to the present way of getting the grievances redressed, the means of going to the High Court and other avenues will not be available now. Of course, in that respect, the present bill gives an advantage in that the time factor will be reduced, but this again depends on how many tribunals are constituted and how expeditiously they are going to work in practice. The whole thing depends on that. Looking to the number of complaints, which I think is 62,000, the number of tribunals should be in proportion to this number, so that the complaints are redressed as early as possible. This is as far as the period is concerned. As far as the location is concerned, there is no specific advantage. As far as the expenditure is concerned, there is no specific advantage except that if one is required to go through the High Court, he may be required to spend more. Another aspect to which I would like to refer is that whenever an application is made to the tribunal, it has a right to reject it summarily if it does not satisfy certain conditions. After all, the tribunal should state the reasons for rejection of the application. Stop.